Nation Radio. United we rock.
Awesome. So, all right. Well, I just have a few questions for you today, just to kind of, get to know each other and all that good stuff. So, if you don't mind, just telling the listeners sort of who you are and what you do for the band.
Sure. Barrett, I'm the singer, guitar player, and programmer in All Else Fails.
Awesome. And who are we missing?
We've got our guitar player, Mike Sand, our drummer, Ryan Biggs, and our bass player, C.D. Mitchell.
Awesome. Quartet.
Yeah.
So now, I noticed there's a couple different people doing the vocals. Who does the dirty? Who does the clean?
Well, Mitch, our bass player, is kind of our second singer or backup singer, whatever you want to call it. We both do both, though. We both have the harsh vocals and the string vocals, and the clean vocals, So we change it up quite a bit. He does maybe 30 or 40%, and I do the rest.
Awesome. I gotta say, that's one of the things that I have been really enjoying is the dynamics, not only in the musical construction, but the vocals, too.
Yeah, and we've got pretty different voices and very different ways of approaching the way we sing as well. So it's cool. It's almost in some ways kind of like having four singers going all the time, just because we can both do two very different things with our voices. So it's kind of neat. It's been effective so far, I think.
Nice. Well, that's kind of why I asked, because I wasn't really able to tell myself based on just listening.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Awesome. Talk to me about maybe the significance of what the name All Else Fails means to you guys, and sort of where that came from.
Fuck all. It means nothing. We picked a name that we liked just because we needed to pick a name, and we thought it was kind of catchy, and to be honest, it maybe doesn't really suit the sound of the band that much anymore. When we first picked it, like when we started off, we were a pretty different band than we were now. We were more, we had a lot of punk in our music, it was kind of like that, in the mid 2000s, a little bit more punk based, like screamy, not screamo, but that sort of thing.
Right.
And it really suited it back then. But, every album we put out, we try to do something just totally drastically different than the one before, which sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. But we've changed quite a bit in the 4 albums and 8 years or whatever it's been since we started. So really, honestly, there's no. It means nothing. It's a name.
It's a name that sounds cool. I mean, some people end up finalizing on something that just sounds badass, right?
Yeah, it's just it's who we are, and that's just that, I guess. So people can just make up whatever they want for it. I don't care.
Wicked. Now, all right. Well, speaking of your sound, then. Now, in terms, you just mentioned that it's grown, it's traveled. If you were to have meet a stranger on the street and they find out you're in a band, how would you describe the current sound of All Else Fails?
Metal. We're a metal band.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah, fuck subgenres and everything else. It doesn't matter. Those labels are just. I swear to God, people only make subgenre labels so they can talk about the things they don't like more than the things they do like. So I don't know. I mean, people could call us whatever, but it's classic definition. We fall into metalcore because we have both screaming and singing.
Okay.
And that's like how that started. So that, I guess, would be where we sit. But that in itself has changed. That label has changed so much over the years that it also doesn't mean that anymore really either. So we're just a metal band, man. That's all. That's
honestly, I think that's probably the greatest answer you could have given me. Initially, I have to admit I'm a bit of a illiterate when it comes to all of the genres and subgenres. And
you do.
Initially that question was, I was kind of curious and kind of, wanting to hear the band's perception of what they think they were. But lately it's almost become just a loaded question for conversation's sake. And
it is.
I've had lots of conversations.
It's like I said, people say, like, they don't make the labels because it's something they like. Generally, people make the labels because it's something they don't like. Like, oh man, that's way too deathcore. I don't like that, or whatever the fuck. Like it's just stuff people are making up, and the bands aren't saying like, hey, we're making this new kind of music, because everybody's just doing the thing that they're doing, and the fans or people who specifically are not fans are the ones making the label. So fuck it, we're jivecore emo blast. I don't know. Who gives a shit?
Wicked metal. Awesome.
Yeah,
all right. Well, congratulations on the award for Fucktropolis.
Thank you.
I was reading about that from Asher, and that's wicked news.
Yeah, it was like a really big surprise because it's kind of like a really big deal, and we had no idea that we'd even been nominated for it until kind of the emails went out and the tweets went out from the Canadian Music Awards. So it was pretty cool, and that's the second one for the year. We won the same award from the Edmonton Music Awards this year in our hometown, which is also really cool because we've kind of felt over the years that no matter how much we do, no matter if we try, we kind of feel a little underappreciated at home. So when that came in, it was like, it warmed my heart, man.
Well, awesome, absolutely. I can totally appreciate that. I mean, especially with the hometown. But I mean that other one was for Western Canada, wasn't it? So it's
the Western Canadian Music Award.
Yeah, excellent, broader recognition. That's congrats there, dude.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it was a really fun time out there. There wasn't a lot of metal out at that thing, obviously, because it's generally not.
Right.
But it was neat. Like, it was a kind of fancy affair. Everybody got all this fancy crap, and there's like all these big shots there, and we were just kind of the drunks in the back who were there for the party more than anything else. And they called our name. It was kind of surreal. We were backstage taking pictures with Fred Penner, who just won his Lifetime Achievement Award right before us. Like, it was a strange day, man. It was a lot of fun.
I saw that shot. That's kind of he's a Canadian legend, that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The funny thing is, he played right before we got our award, and he probably never seen as many, like, you know, I wouldn't, not to call him not a legitimate musician, but like guys who were like really in the music scene, like just losing their shit over this guy singing the Cat in the Hat on stage. Like, it was really funny. It was awesome.
That's great. That's wicked.
Came back. I mean, that's what I meant to say.
Well, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, right on. So how does the song come from, you know, riff to creation with you guys? What's the process? We don't really have a process. We just write shit, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. We all kind of, like, our guitar player Mike doesn't live in the same city as us anymore, so this new album is going to be, that we're just starting to work on now, is going to be kind of a bit of an experiment. We're kind of just shooting riffs back and forth over the internet. He comes up, you know, maybe once a month or so to jam together. But generally speaking, it's just kind of everybody writes their own thing, and we all have very, very different writing styles and like different things that we do, and we just kind of mush it all together until it's something we're all happy with, or at the very least not unhappy with, and then that kind of turns into an album. Okay. So it really just ends up being a collaborative kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's some songs, like on Fucktropolis specifically, that, you know, that I wrote or that Mitch wrote, but all of them, they still get so beat up and changed as we fight over the parts and stuff. It's a very violent writing process with us because we never liked each other's ideas. But like, so we just fight until things are okay, and then we're like, okay, yeah, I can live with that. Everybody else kind of nods and goes, okay, now that's the song. Let's fight about the next thing.
Tension creates some beautiful things too.
Oh, it does. It's because we're always challenging each other. We all are, like, we're all very, very different musicians is the thing. Like, our guitar player Mike is like a jazz guy. That's what he's trained on. He's been playing a ton of country lately in his personal life and stuff, which is weird because he's also like a super metal elitist, which makes no sense at all. And then like our bass player Mitch is like, he's like, you know, really death metal and that sort of stuff. And I'm like, I grew up on grunge and skate punk, like that's, you know, and some metal too. But so we all bring like totally different things to the table, and I think that's kind of why it works, because it's you know, we're a metal band for sure, but I think we do have our own sound we've carved out of it all.
Yeah, well, you definitely have an original sound as far as my opinion goes. I like the dynamics. It's not like there's one particular style really in there.
Yeah.
I guess, albeit the safest, like you said, to call it metal.
Yeah, I think so. And that's kind of what we're going for, too, is, you know, something, you know, we're not out there to reinvent the wheel, because I don't think you can try to do that and make that happen. If we accidentally do, that'd be cool. But, you know, we're just out there, we're just trying to make music that we like. And if we figure if we like it, then hopefully somebody else will. And, you know, because I don't think you can successfully write for other people, not in our genre anyway.
Yeah, I think metalheads will see right through that.
Yeah, exactly. It comes off as, well, you're always just following trends and, you know, lowest common denominator sort of thing. And I mean, any sort of experiment isn't always necessarily going to work, but It seems to be, this last album anyway.
Yeah, well, keep experimenting. Jesus, it is working.
But yeah.
Where did Fucktropolis come from? What does that mean?
Well, you've heard the album, you've heard the song Anti-Martyr. Fucktropolis is explained in the first 45 seconds of the song.
Okay.
That speech is taken from the original article was called The World Village, is what we've kind of condensed that down from. But that just kind of sums up the whole thing. It's that we're all fucked and we all live in the same town and we're all fucked.
All right. I've honestly, I think I've over-listened to that track. I really, the main riff is fucking fat.
Awesome, man.
All right. Well, you talked about working on some new material. What's on the forefront for All Else Fails? What can we look forward to?
Well, we're going to do a little bit more touring on Fucktropolis to support it, but we started like the really initial stages of writing for the next album. So the goal is to do another album in 2015. I don't know if it'll be another EP like Fucktropolis was. The plan was to do one of those every year for a while. Just, music is changing a little bit, but that just didn't happen. We can't write fast enough to make that happen and support an album at the same time.
Yeah, that's a tall order.
With the way our lives are. So I don't know what it's going to be yet, but 2015 for sure we'll have a release. I'm thinking maybe midway through the year, maybe somewhere around summer or early fall. There will be something new. In the meantime, we've got some small tours and stuff lined up for the spring. We've been talking about it for months, but we're still working on trying to confirm the contract for it. But it looks like we may be doing some shows in India coming up in January, which would be really interesting and different. But international touring is kind of what we're thinking of for the immediate future. And then, writing a new disc and see how it goes.
That's a great idea. India. Shit. We've actually got a couple DJs from India on Metal Nation Radio.
Awesome.
Yeah,
we've got a surprisingly solid fan base from kind of all over the world. We tend to we don't do that buying Facebook fans thing that people seem to do, but we do advertise over Facebook and over other kinds of social media with media ads and stuff. Like our video will come up in other places, and it's been surprising, but there's a lot of we get a lot of hits from India and from the Middle East even as well. So it's we're kind of looking at some other places to tour. We've done Canada 5 times already. It's time to maybe try something different.
Yeah, that's awesome. The metal community is definitely international for sure. Now,
definitely, yeah.
Speaking of all that social media and all that good stuff on the interweb, how can my listeners stay in touch and follow up on what's going on here?
Sure. The easiest way to find anything about us is just to Google All Else Fails Canada. That just brings everything up, and that's pretty much our tag for everything. So Facebook.com/All Else Fails Canada, YouTube.com/All Else Fails Canada, and Twitter, I think, is All Else Fails CA. So that's the easiest way to find us. We do check our Facebook page a fair amount, so if anybody wants to get in touch with us directly, that's cool. Also, we've got our music up for sale everywhere. There's a Bandcamp page. We are on iTunes, all of our albums. And even if you hit our Bandcamp page, we have a free album up still, I think, from our punk cover B-side disc. So there's lots of stuff out there for us.
Wicked. That's awesome. Well, Barrett, thanks for hanging out and chatting with me tonight.
Hey, thanks, man. It was my pleasure. And thanks again for the support. Cindy, guys need it.
Well, when the music is as good as this, damn it, I can't help but support it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.